I'm Reggie Tongol, a lawyer by profession, TV host by advocacy.
I'm William Theo. I am a journalist, a commercial model, and also a realtor. Join me and meet the mighty shakers and movers of society
And be inspired by their amazing journey through life here on Spotlight.
Reg, can you see all of his modern Philippine architecture? It's wonderful how you can actually create and make something modern by using an inspiration like yung bahay na bato at saka yung bahay kubo. Linagyan niya ng maraming salamin at saka pinaangat, high ceilings, and you have a totally modern Filipino architecture that can actually compete in the global scene.
Anyway, Will, there are only a handful of Filipinos who are known by their first name. And Budji Layug is one of them. He is tied in being one of the famous interior and furniture designers globally, no?
Yeah. And Reg, Budji Layug is a household name when it comes to furniture.
Kaya let's get to know more about this person behind the enigmatic name here on Spotlight. Si Antonio Budji Layug ay isang international furniture at interior designer. Siya ay pangatlo sa 8 anak sa isang pamilya na tanyag sa furniture manufacturing sa Pampanga.
I had a normal childhood coming from a middle-level family. Of course, my mother and my parents come from Tarlac and Pampanga, and my background really is in design because my mom comes from a design family, Cancho. And growing up, I was exposed to design and all the designers and architects of that time. But it was really when, after high school, that I started to discover what I love to do, and that was really adventure. Aside from architecture, I actually chose adventure. And that's actually been my background, my educational background is experiential exposure to design in Europe and America.
Why did you feel the need to still enroll in UST, wherein you already have this education in New York?
Well, actually, my dream is to be an architect. This interior design is part of my inclination too, but I really wanted to be an architect. And it was something I always dreamt of. But it didn't happen. Instead, I traveled, learned more about design by traveling rather than architecture in Manila.
Ang adventure niya sa Europe ang nagdala sa kanya upang mag-aral ng hair designing sa Vidal Sassoon. Pag-uwi sa Pilipinas ay nagtayo siya ng isang parlor na nakilala sa tawag na Bujiwara. Dahil sa kasikatan, ito ay naisama sa lyrics ng kantang Bongga Kaday.
It was at a time wherein I was in London and I needed to have a permit to stay. And my friends who were studying in Vidal Sassoon encouraged me to take up a course. And because I needed a permit to stay, I enrolled. And it was very creative and I enjoyed it. And after 1 year, my mother decided to ask me to come back and I opened the salon. But not to stay in Manila for too long. So I did. I trained, for 6 months I trained hairstylist according to what I've learned in Vidal Sassoon and opened the shop and I left again. I went back to London. Yes. I left them with what I have taught them and it became instant success. It actually came about that name because there's a song that sounds like Bujiwara. It's a Latin American beat. And when they asked me what I'd like to name the salon, well, I said, I really don't like my name. But they said it would be good if your name is there. So I said, well, why don't we call it Bujiwara? Because that's how my friends call me in Europe. When I left, I get the info that it was actually very successful. So that forced me to come back and bring in styles every how many months. And that went on for a year or two, and I'd come back and forth until finally I decided to come to stay. When I decided to stay, I actually did hair and design again. I went back to design again. How? By, exploring this time what we have in the Philippines. Rather than before, I was trying to explore what they had outside in Europe. I wanted to find out about more what the Philippines was like. And that brought me to Baguio, the marketplace. And that brought me to the beach. That brought me to different places in the Philippines. And I slowly got attracted to our crafts. And because of that, the most important material that attracted me were the baskets. The baskets that were made of bamboo. The baskets that were woven from natural material. I'd go to the beach, I'd get attracted to the bamboo houses, the nipa houses, the flooring, the construction of how they would work with bamboo, the boats with the outriggers. And I kind of had this feeling that I wanted to bring this feeling of naturalness to my home. To my home first, yes. How can I do that? So I had a house, I knocked down the walls, I brought in the garden, I did my bamboo flooring, I did my bamboo furniture. And slowly, experimenting on the bamboo, I came up with a design that when I saw it, it was really something that expressed my sensibility. It was natural, it was Asian, it is sustainable, it's full of character. So I created a design that would complement the naturalness of the material. And soon enough, after experimenting with it, I experimented also with how you can make bamboo and basket weaving as part of design and furniture, into eventually experimenting with other materials that are Philippines that you see everywhere in Cebu and in Pampanga. And because of the design that I created, I brought it to New York, showed it to Bloomingdale's, just because I really believed that it was something I love. And they actually were very surprised to see the design. And they immediately asked me to ship my designs and included them in their China exhibit. So the following year, they asked me to help them with the Philippine Festival. This time, I introduced them to the government to create the Philippine design exhibit. At that time, it was Imelda Marcos. They were talking to her, but they highlighted my furniture this time, Philippine design, on the Bloomingdale's, in the show windows and everything. And in fact, through the years, that design of bamboo furniture became the longest-selling product on Bloomingdale's. For 15 years, it sold well. And they, gave me that recognition. While doing this, of course, I got exposed more and more to design. There was someone who noticed my design, and he asked me to help him with his house. And that was the first time I ever did a house, and it is the house that is in Tagaytay. The Zulueta house. Again, I was given the opportunity, just like when I started bamboo furniture. Gave me the opportunity to work with natural materials, creating design that would go global. This time, it was a client who offered me to do a house, and it was not an ordinary house. It was in Tagaytay on a mountain ridge overlooking the lake. And it's a very sculptural house, and that also showed me, it was a conversation between the owner, me, and the location. How do I make this project something that will work with the Givens? And that's where I learned interior design. As I became known for interior design, a lot of clients would come to me and ask me to do their houses, and I always tell them, no, I'm not an architect. but it's okay. I can help you with your house. I can collaborate with architects. And so came the opportunity to collaborate with Royal Pineda. And that's when we did architecture and design as a total approach.
When we return.
This is something I would advocate, is that we as a country have a long-term program and commitment to be part of the global community of design world.
You said earlier that you are a student of experience. And if you're a student of experience, you also commit certain mistakes. What do you think is the one mistake that you committed that you learned a lot from and that made you the Budji Layug that you are now?
I'm a very creative person. I am not a business manager. I understand business. I know what sells. I know what the market's looking for. I also know, I have a sensibility for what good business can be. So when I go into anything, whether it's hair, furniture, home, or design, I am passionate about my work. But one thing I am not a manager of my own affairs. I always have to rely on people to manage me. If I had my way at this point, I wish I could be a businessman and a designer at the same time. But that's not what it is to be. So I take it as it comes.
What are the one challenge of Filipino design that you still want to hurdle?
Oh, that's a very difficult question. I once dreamed that as a Filipino, that as a designer, I could create a living environment for people who will enjoy the space, the city, or even the houses or the streets.
Any heartaches that come to mind which you think that you learned a lot of values from?
I think the fact that my career has been very good, and you know, I've been able to get into different levels of whatever I've done, but there have been some controversies regarding it. I've learned that there's a reason for everything. There's a reason to learn and why you have to go through it. Probably that is something I would say is I have come to live and accept, is that in life, you know, there are challenges and you just have to believe that what you're doing is right, and I think the rest will just come together to make it, you know, something worthwhile. This is something I would advocate, is that we as a country have a long-term program and commitment to be part of the global community of design world.
How do you want to be remembered? What's the legacy that you want to leave?
I don't think about it. I think my work will have to speak for itself. Only time will tell.
Ngayon si Budji ang chairman at COO ng Budji Royal Architecture Design Firm, kung saan kapartner niya si Architect Royal Pineda.